Hello there, guys, and welcome back to another Two Halves live stream. Today, we're going to be talking about the Man United versus Spurs game and the Arsenal West Ham game and a few other things. So, to get us started off, we're going to talk about Lionel Messi and his 400 goals in La Liga. So, we knew this was all going to happen. You know, he's a legend. He's miles ahead of any other top goal scorer in the La Liga. I think the second is Ronaldo with 310 or something. So he's way ahead of everyone else. And he's obviously, when he retires, he's going to be considered as a top three best ever players to play the game. What do you think, though, Rico?
Yeah, it'd be good. It'd be go down in history, I suppose.
Yeah, I think he's been a top goal scorer for quite a long time now in the Liga, the all time, and he's just blasted all the other previous players away. He's way ahead of them by like tens and some of them hundreds of goals. So that just goes to show what an icon and legend he is. But let's talk about now. I think what everyone wants us to talk about is Manchester United versus Spurs. 1-0 to United. Marcus Rashford put into the bottom left corner. He's been scoring a lot of goals recently. And yeah, they looked. I feel like Spurs dominated the game for most of it, but that doesn't matter when you don't win. And they lost 1-0, and obviously, I think we all know the reason why they did win. That man, David De Gea, what a goalkeeper! 11 saves in the whole match, and some of the saves were just world class, weren't they, Rico?
Yeah, they were. Is he beating his record for the amount of saves against Arsenal or not? Was it just?
No, he made 14 saves last season against Arsenal. So only 3 off, but still great. Like I watched the game live, and some of the saves he was making, I was just like, wow. Especially that one with his left foot. He got down so quickly, and he's top level goalkeeper. And a lot of people were questioning his quality in the summer. Obviously, he had a bad performances at the World Cup. But he's bounced back. He's shown that was just a blip, and he really is a world-class goalkeeper, and if not the best goalkeeper at the moment in the world. So good for him. But yeah, that's pretty much all to talk about in the Man United versus Spurs game. Except that Man United, you could say, they've got a good chance of getting top four now. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure if they. I think personally that they've gone a bit too late to get into the top four, and if they were to get into the top four, it would have to be quite a few bad performances from Spurs and Chelsea. Otherwise, I don't see them doing it. I do see them beating Arsenal though, and Arsenal potentially losing out on top six, which leads us on to the next thing we talk about is Arsenal versus West Ham. I feel like Arsenal are in serious trouble at the moment. They're not playing well. They're losing quite a lot of games recently. They're not this, and I think that what makes it worse is all the fans got hyped up after that 22 game unbeaten run or something, and they've hyped up the team, and we've got to be realistic here. Them teams that they were facing, they were average sides, and now they faced the top side in Liverpool, and that showed what they just got exploited, and even West Ham could exploit them. So it's just I think they're in serious trouble. But what do you think, Rico?
an Arsenal fan, so I don't really want to talk about it. You know? I think that they're not good enough for top 4, so wouldn't like that.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree that they're not good enough for top 4, and potentially not good enough for top 6, because if West Ham, who beat them,
No,
keep on pushing,
no,
maybe even I
no.
might be
The top 6 is
pushing
gonna
there, but
stay. Top 6 is gonna stay the same. Just maybe a couple change arounds in positions in the top 6, but them teams are gonna stay in the top 6. That's gonna be it. Can't see
yeah,
Everton, even though Everton and Watford are doing all right. I can't really see them getting into the top 6.
yeah. I don't think Leicester were there, but maybe West Ham. That's just my opinion. They could go on a run. I'm not saying they'd finish there, but they could definitely scare Arsenal a bit and maybe get into the 6th place and take it off Arsenal. If they drop down to 6th place, sorry, I forgot that Man United were in there. And for a couple of games, just stay there and scare them a bit, but then Arsenal come back, something like that. That's what I see most likely happening. But another thing to talk about in that game is Declan Rice. He got himself his first West Ham goal. I'm pretty sure he grew up as a West Ham fan. So to get your first goal for the club you're playing for, that's been your boyhood club, against Arsenal, a direct rival, a London derby, and to score the only goal to win it for your side, that must feel great. So good for him. And what do you think about him, Rico?
I think he's the next John Stones. So I can
John
see the next
Stones,
John
what,
Stones.
overhyped or?
Yeah, overhyped. Gets a big move to maybe
Well,
Man United. I think he might go to.
well, I have heard that Manchester City are very interested in him. So you never know, but I don't see him moving yet.
He's
He
just
might
signed
even
a new
stay there for
contract.
his whole career because that's where he grew up, and he strikes me as, I've watched a couple of interviews of him, and he strikes me as a person that likes to
Yeah,
stay loyal. But money talks. So you never
and
know
onto
if
money,
Manchester City.
and onto
Sorry.
money. Will Arnautovic move to China? I believe
Yeah,
West Ham
yeah,
moved
that's
to
another
China.
thing. Yeah, there's
Antonio
big
came out
talks
yesterday.
there.
Mikel
There's big
Antonio
talks
came
there,
out
and
yesterday and said that he wants to go to China. So, and there was today an article saying that West Ham will go in for Wilson if he leaves. Callum Wilson, West
all
Ham.
right, Callum Wilson. You know
Yeah,
what? I'm not sure. I can't remember the exact figure that they would get for Arnautovic,
50 million.
but
No, 35 million. There was a bid on the table for West
34.
Ham.
Well, then I'm not sure if they're doing any better then, because I'd say Arnautovic and Callum Wilson, they're very different players, but that they end up getting around about the same goals so far this season. So Bournemouth have come out and said to Chelsea that they'll have to spend 50 million. So I assume that would be the same for West Ham. So they'd be, what's that? They're spending 15 million pounds when you take them away and everything, more. But then and for like the same kind of quality player. But then I guess if Arnautovic wants to leave, they've got to let him leave if he gets, like, remember the Payet, Rico?
Yeah,
The situation there. Yeah, it wasn't pretty, was it? So they definitely don't want that kind of situation happening again. So I definitely wouldn't blame them for moving Arnautovic on for 35, 40 million to China if he wants to go. And yeah, bringing in a striker like Callum Wilson, who can score goals. The only doubt about him is his previous injuries.
season
I think
wonder.
it's two ACLs, um, two ACLs on each leg, so that's bad. But you never know; he could just never get an injury again, or very minor ones. or it could go the complete other way, and he could be always injured, like Andy Carroll, another striker of theirs. So I don't think
Absolutely
they want that. But
Andy
Andy
Carroll is
Carroll,
absolutely woeful. He is the
yeah, well,
worst player I've ever seen. He is shy.
well, I wouldn't say that.
He is
Well,
absolutely.
I wouldn't say he's the worst, but because he can have a decent game here and there. Remember that
He
overhead kick versus Arsenal in a
no.
cup game, I think it was, or
Oh,
it was 5-1 or something to Arsenal, so it
oh yeah.
didn't really matter. But you know, that's just Andy Carroll for you. He just was a one-season wonder. But anyway, let's stop talking about Andy Carroll and go on to the latest news that we're going to talk about is David Wagner leaving Huddersfield Town. He's
Yeah.
been there for 3.5 years,
Yeah.
and he's actually left himself
It's
because
fun.
I read a quote here that I've got. It says that Dean Hoyle, the chairman, said, this is a quote, "As I said previously, I had no intention of sacking David this season. Subsequently, David, being the great man he is, came to us and made it clear that he needs a break from the rigours of football management," which is basically saying he is a big enough man to accept all this responsibility of Huddersfield being at the bottom of the league with only 2 wins, and he feels unselfishly for the club it would be better if he left. So big up to David Wagner. I don't know if they wanted to get rid of him soon, but obviously the chairman said that he didn't want to sack him, and he had no intention of sacking him in the season. But you never really believe what a chairman says. It's got to be they've got to be put into them situations in real life to get the truth out of them. So yeah, it's sad to see him go because he was a great manager for Huddersfield. Got him into the Premier League, which is amazing. They never thought they would get there anytime soon. And even in their first season, last season, he was a great manager. So it's sad to see him leave the Premier League, but hopefully he gets a good job somewhere else. And wish him all the best of luck. But the next thing we'll talk about, it's not really that related to football, but I'm sure a lot of you have been seeing it around the internet, well, Instagram mainly. A lot of football accounts been talking about it as well. The world record egg. It's trying to beat the Kylie Jenner's post that got the most likes, and it has by quite a lot. I think it's 31 million. I'm just going to check now.
23 million likes.
23 million.
23
Really?
million. Yeah,
Right.
23 million. And it's got 4 million followers. No, 32 million, sorry.
4 million.
32.
Sorry?
32 million.
32 million. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, so just we're saying that, guys, because we just found it funny, silly, but it's a lot of football accounts been promoting it, and also, guys, just go and like it and follow the page, just to get it up even more and basically take the piss out of Kylie Jenner, kind of, if you want to say it like that. But yeah, I've just found it funny, so I thought we'd talk about it. But I think that's all we've got to talk about today, guys. Remember, we live stream every Monday and Friday, so we'll be back on here on Friday. So make sure to check out the live streams, and we want some more live viewers because I've only seen one live viewer today, but even that person's left. So I don't know what that's telling us, but we're trying to improve every time we do a live stream, and hopefully we get it eventually to a quality and a standard where you guys will really enjoy it. But that's it, guys. We'll see you on Friday,
Yeah.
and peace.